YouTube land. You like the little intro I made? Well, I didn't really make it, but I was driving down 75 south, and they're just I think I was just north of Tennessee in Kentucky, and saw the General Lee getting right on the get on ramp. So I had to get a quick, easy little video of it. I love that car, man. It's too bad they took that show down. Anyway, the title of this little vlog is basically we all screw up. We all make mistakes. And I made one yesterday. To start off, I had delivered in Walton, Kentucky, and was driving home. I was empty, I was driving home. I was going to be home for the day, basically. I was going to go meet my wife in Dayton after I got home. I was going to hop in the Jeep, drive to Dayton and meet my wife for dinner because she was already in Dayton anyway. The entire way home it's pouring rain. There's flooding going on. The roads aren't really flooding, but rivers are really rising rather. Fields are just swamped. I mean, it was a mess. It really was. Well, there were a lot of accidents yesterday. A lot of accidents. It was bumper to bumper traffic all the way from Cincinnati up to where I got off in Troy to drive the remaining 15 miles or so to the yard. It was just insane. I mean, it really was. I couldn't believe how much bumper to bumper traffic there was. And from Cincinnati to Troy, well, Cincinnati is obviously at the very southern end of 75 in Ohio, so mile marker 01, whatever. Well, the exit I get off on is exit 74. So it's 74 miles, and it was bumper to bumper. Pretty much the whole way. It was just insane. So, I'm commenting, I took a couple of pictures, put them on Facebook, oh my gosh, people, people can't drive in the rain. They can't drive in the rain. What is up with these people? There's accidents left and right. And yes, I realized when I went left and right, I'm directionally challenged apparently. My right, my left. But so accidents everywhere. I'm getting fed up. What should be an hour and a half drive turns into a 3.5 hour drive, 4 hour drive. It was just ridiculous. So I get to the yard. I'm running late for meeting my wife and my daughter. So I didn't even do anything with my, with my paperwork. I just figured I'd do it the next morning. I jump into my Jeep, leave the yard, and for some reason, I did not turn right to go down the back road like I normally would have. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't. Just didn't do it. Well, Jeeps notoriously have crappy traction on the road. They're great off-road. Because they have the solid axles, so they articulate. They have great departure and approach and breakover angles, and they're just, they're fantastic vehicles off-road. And because they're light, they're fantastic off-road. They're nimble. They're able to get into tight spaces that you can't get into with a full-size pickup or even something like an Explorer or something. They're nimble. They're easy to maneuver and yada yada. I love them. But my particular Jeep is a 95, and even though there was an option for ABS and 95 on these Jeeps, very far and few between had them, and mine was one that did not. Combine rain, you got one there. 2, combine lack of ABS. 3, zero weight. And I guess you can throw a fourth ingredient in there, stupidity. I was driving down a hill at the very bottom of it's a pretty steep hill. Very bottom of the hill is a red light. And I go to stop. Well, there's a car in front of me. I go to stop, and my front brakes completely lock up and hydroplane. Well, I'll post, there'll be a couple pictures here. There was a Ford Escape that failed to live up to its name. And I rear-ended that son of a gun. So, yeah, I did. I rear-ended him. Oh, this guy's gonna start his truck now. It's gonna be noisy. I got my engine off and windows cracked a bit. Anyway, roll up that window. The front tire's locked up on my Jeep, and just ran right into him. I was probably doing 10 miles an hour by the time I made contact. First at-fault accident I have ever been in my life. I'm 32 years old. I've got, God, in probably the last 9 years, the time I've been driving a truck, I've probably got, I don't even know. I probably average at least 120,000 miles a year. So multiply that by 9. It's well over 1 million miles. And just the time I've been driving truck. So, never an at-fault accident, out there on the highways. Well, this time it was my own stupidity at fault. Didn't stop soon enough. And, I gotta say, I could not have hit a nicer couple. They were very understanding. I did not do a damn thing to their Escape, because when I hit them dead center in their Reese hitch. Yeah. Right there. They didn't have a ball on it, but it was just the Reese hitch, factory Reese hitch. And I nailed it. And it destroyed my front bumper. My solid steel front bumper. But it did not even scratch their bumper, their plastic bumper. They even have, rear parking sensors. It did not even knock a parking sensor out. No, nothing. Slightly scuffed up the Reese hitch, but the very first time you pull something with the Reese hitch, it's going to get scuffed up. Anyway, I didn't do anything to their car, but of course they wanted a police report. I completely understand, just in case they weren't feeling very well the next day or whatever. Because it was an unexpected hit. I of course asked them if they're okay. First thing I said when I stopped, asked if they were okay. They said they were fine. We drove over to a parking lot across the intersection to wait for the police. The driver and I, very nice guy, and older by my standards anyways, probably I'd say around late 50s or so. We talked about Jeeps and work, and he's just a really nice guy. And we waited. Took about a half an hour for the sheriff to show up, the deputy to show up. Took down our information, police report, and all that stuff. Didn't cite me. I didn't get any kind of a citation for it, so that's good at least. As long as they don't feel the need to involve the insurance, then my insurance isn't even going to be affected, so that's good. And I haven't heard anything, so I don't know if that means they haven't contacted them. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. In hindsight, I keep looking back at it, and I keep thinking to myself, if I had just thought to take my foot off the brakes, then my wheels would have freed up and I could have steered out of it. You think about this stuff afterwards, because you see, when you lock up your brakes, this is the problem with non-ABS vehicles. When you lock your brakes up, you lose all control. And I know that sounds like common sense, but I mean, even when you go to turn the wheel, if your brakes are locked up and you turn the steering wheel to try to avoid a collision, it's not going to be able to tell that you're turning the wheel because your tires are locked up. So it doesn't matter, when it comes to physics, it does not matter which direction your wheels are turned. If they're not rolling, if they're locked up, it's not going to change the direction. It just isn't. So that's why ABS is nice, because you can slam on your brakes and you still have steering control for the most part. You can still steer as you're panicking and got your foot flat to the floor on the brake pedal. But you can't do that with non-ABS. And, you know, I've been four-wheeling so much and enough to know that, honestly, I think I wasn't even in shock or anything, you know. I mean, like I said, did some damage to my Jeep, but I wasn't in shock at all. And I think it's because I've hit plenty of trees harder than that when I've been four-wheeling. So it wasn't even that big of a deal to me. I just felt bad for them. But anyway, you know, when you go four-wheeling a lot, you learn the physics about, you know, locking your brakes up and how to avoid certain situations and things like that. So I have the experience. I've gone four-wheeling, I don't know how many, it's been a while since I've gone, but I've gone four-wheeling, I don't know how many times in the same exact type of vehicle. You know, same type of Jeep without ABS, everything. And I know that when you take your foot off the brake, if you're going down a hill and you have to make a turn in the middle of a hill on some muddy hill, you want to take your foot off the brake so that way it's scary as hell because you pick up speed, but you have control of the steering and you can avoid the tree in most cases, you know. And I keep thinking to myself, if I had just taken my foot off the brake, I could have put it in the ditch and it wouldn't have been a big deal. I would have hit the ditch, put it in four-wheel drive and pulled out because it wasn't a really bad ditch at all. But I didn't do it. And see, I make fun of people a lot of times for not using what I call common sense when they drive, and, you know, in situations like that. You know, it's like, if they had just done this, if they had just done that, you know, blah, blah, blah. My experience behind the wheel, I'd never do that, yada, yada. It's not true, folks. You can still screw up, and maybe even more likely to because you have such a big ego. My wife got a kick out of it. She thought it was hilarious. She laughed. You know, she said, "Oh, so where's your ego at now, Mr. Professional Driver?" Well, she got me there. So anyways, that's the story of everybody can screw up from time to time. It happens. It's an accident. But don't think that it can't happen. And this 32-year-old truck driver had to learn that one. But anyways, I'm in lovely Carysville, Tennessee. Right here, I think it's Jellicoe. It's a good four-wheeling spot. But anyways, down here in Tennessee, delivering to Black Mountain, North Carolina tomorrow. Taking my time because I don't have to be there till 4 p.m. tomorrow. I picked this load up early. Don't have to be there till 4 p.m. and then my next load doesn't pick up until the next day. So I've got all the time in the world. So I'm just gonna go ahead, relax, get some good sleep, have some dinner, get up, you know, maybe do a little exercising in the truck, have a good breakfast, and then get back on the road. And I'm only 3 hours away. Total drive is only a 9-hour or 8-hour drive at the most. So I could have made it easily tonight, but there's no reason to rush it tonight. So easy. So anyways, guys, y'all have a good one. Be safe, and we'll talk at you next time.